Listen, I know I'm late to the party on this, but I finally got around to watching Solo Leveling, an anime that was really hyped up and even talked about a lot within my friend groups. And after watching it, I think there's only two words that I can really say that describes this anime. Just fine. Yeah, it's just fine. It's weird because I don't think Solo Leveling does anything really wrong when it comes to a lot of its ideas. It's just most of them I've seen done better in so many different anime. The gamifying of powers has been super overdone, the Zero to Hero story is not as compelling as other shows. Its power system is straightforward but it's nothing to write home about, and its plot does seem pretty shallow when you look at it. Yes, Solo Leveling does have its flaws, but at the same time, it does have redeeming qualities that make the show enjoyable. The fights go hard in this show, the dungeons are actually really well crafted, and for some reason I find myself latching on to the political aspect of the whole world. The complexities of making a guild and the loopholes around all of that, the shadiness of trying to steal a hero from one agency to another, and just the whole corrupt side of the whole world of dungeon hunting is really fascinating, and I think the show does a really good way of exploring that. But I do think this is part of the reason why I'm finding the show just kind of okay. When you go back and forth from good ideas to bad ideas, you never get a chance to truly sit with any of the good ideas to the point where you actually fall in love with the show, but you're never stuck in the bad ideas long enough to hating the show. So it's this back and forth swing pendulum of just being constantly in the middle and just finding the show, like I said, just fine. I know as well, there's probably a lot of you out there watching this video who are sitting there asking me why am I comparing Solo Leveling to so many shows out there, because in this day and age, you kind of have to. There are so many different types of shonen that come out in seasons, let alone a whole year of anime, that you have to sit there and weed through everything just to find the cream of the crop, the one that stands out the best, the one that stands at the top of a mountain and proves itself to be the best of anything that came out in that year. So when something like Solo Leveling comes in with the hype and feels like it didn't meet those expectations to certain people, yeah, you're gonna get judged with other things. And that's just with shonen. With anime in general, it almost triples with the amount of anime that actually come out. You're competing with things that aren't even in your genre, so you have to be even more compelling to things that don't even have the same tropes or ideas as you. Mixed in with just the low attention span we have nowadays and the fact that people just move so quickly through the internet, if you want something to be talked about and to be hard-hitting and to last, you gotta be good. And after finishing this, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think Solo Leveling did enough for me to feel like it did just that. But I do think Solo Leveling has enough for me to keep going. Listen, I know I'm being Yabberty McYapperton here, but I promise you this is going somewhere. I promise you this idea is going somewhere. Solo Leveling, I would say, is far from a great anime, but it has done something that many other anime haven't done in a long while. And that's wanting me to let it ride. There are a lot of anime that I think do take time to build. They take a long time to get to the stride where it needs to. The problem is, a lot of those anime don't build up enough goodwill with the audience in order to keep going. It's usually at a really bad point or something just goes completely off the rails to the point where people don't want to sit through the show or even bother going through it. You at least need to be a tad bit interesting in order for people to deal with your slow burn. You gotta give them something to latch onto if you want them to go through the long ride that you're taking them on. And I think Solo Leveling is the first anime in a very long time, I think, that has given me enough goodwill to allow the slow burn. At least in the shonen genre, that is. There are other anime outside of the shonen genre who have done this, but I think this is the first time in the shonen genre that we've gotten something like this in a long time. While it definitely has the typical entertainment factor of a shonen nowadays, there's definitely enough there where it's trying to speak to the audience in a sense, telling them, we have these pieces we're trying to build. We're trying to build something and we're trying to make something great. But you need to give us time. There are so many unanswered questions here that just the second season alone answering a few of these could make for very entertaining television, and I'm here for it if it's able to accomplish it. Well, again, there wasn't enough in its first season for me to be entertained. There's at least enough curiosity and goodwill that I'm willing to give the second season a watch, even if I wasn't completely entertained by the first. And trust me, I know it doesn't make sense. Writing this script, I said to myself, this makes no sense. And there's a lot of you who are probably watching that are sitting there being like, Mise, you're making no sense. But look at it this way. Think of my experiences watching Solo Leveling as meeting a new friend. You guys hang out for the first time, and nothing about the hangout is actually particularly special. It was just a normal day, you guys go out to get coffee, you might have seen a few things. Nothing about the day is eventful. But they say and do certain things that make you think there's a bit more under there. And if you keep going out with this person, if you keep hanging out with them, eventually there's going to be that one thing, that one aspect, that one bond that you will find in that person that will make you guys best friends, that will make you so enthralled with that person that you will have seen everything and think to yourself, yes, that was worth it. And that is where I currently stand with Solo Leveling. I wasn't blown away by the first season. It was a fine season, but nothing about it truly stand out. But there's enough there's enough goodwill, there's enough intrigue and mystery that I feel like if I just give it a bit more time, Solo Leveling can go from a fine show to a good show, or a fine show to a great show, or hell, if it hits all of its marks and does everything well, it could even go from fine to a masterpiece. I will say, all the things that I've heard with the bits and pieces of the manhwa, it sounds like it's going in a pretty good direction. So I have hope that the anime will do exactly the same. To wrap it all up in a nice little bow, Solo Leveling is an anime that's just okay. But if you give it time and let it ride, I think it'll actually be something pretty good. I swear to God though, you pull the 7 deadly sins on me, I'm gonna have the biggest crash out of my goddamn life.
I'm like so gay.